Okay, so technology. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. I don't know what happened. My picture just disappeared, totally disappeared. So I couldn't upload me into the screen. So please, my apologies for that. I have no idea what just happened. But technology is technology. And if you work live, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug, and I come on the Business Plugs Mixer. Welcome to the Mixer. I come on Sundays at 7 p.m. normally, but today is a little different. So today I'm on a little later, but I want to bring you good information. So we have business conversations with business people for business people. And normally I have a guest, but this evening I do not have a guest because I have something of very importance that I want to cover with you. And I want to make sure that you get it. I want to be able to answer your questions and things. Now, let me preface this. This is not legal advice, period. Not legal advice, period. However, I have so many business owners who have LLCs. And the other night, somebody called, somebody reached out and said, "Hey, Linda, I'm wanting to start an LLC. What do I do next?" And so I get that question often. And I wanted to make sure that when people start LLCs, right, that their LLCs are compliant. Like that's important. That's very important. And we're at the end of the year. And so we want to start 2025 off being compliant. Want to make sure that you're compliant. Because again, I know so many people with LLCs, and because I help people when they're going to get government contracting, or they're trying to get a grant, or they're trying to do something for funding, they come to me and say, "Hey, because I help with the grant responses, and I also help write business plans and do these things." And so when I'm combing through their business models and I find out they're not compliant, like as a business, there, and some of these businesses have been in business for a long time. So yeah, so this is my effort for my business owner friends who I've even prayed for on my Facebook page. But this is my effort to help you understand what happens when you have an LLC. Like, because there are compliance things, regulations, things that you should have in place when you're an LLC. And so I come on to talk through what that looks like. Okay. And so we're going to jump right off in the annual reporting. Now, most people know, I say most people, but some don't, but most people know that your LLC has to be renewed annually. Like you pay a $300 annual reporting fee, and that keeps you compliant. So you, in order to have your LLC, you don't just start it one day and it goes on and on and on. You have a report that you have to do at least annually to your state. And so by doing this, the state will offer you a letter of good standing. Every year you complete the form, you file your annual report. Some people may have to do it a little bit more frequent than that. Again, this is not legal advice. This is us discussing LLCs and the requirements. Right now, I have emergency vehicles going through, so you hear them. But what I want to say to you is it's important for you to stay in good standing with the state that you're in. It is very important because there are fees and even the risk of being dissolved if you don't follow the guidelines. So you want to make sure that you're staying compliant by filing your annual report. That's the number uno thing, right? The second thing I want to talk to you about is I want to ask you, do you have a registered agent for your business? Now, this is somebody that's appointed to receive the legal documents for your business. Okay, it can be an individual, it can be a company, but they're authorizing. They're in your paperwork with the government that you filed with the IRS and with the state, that this person can legally receive your legal notices and your government notices. So you want to make sure that this person has been identified. and that you maintain that. So why is it important? Because it ensures your LLC can legally receive important notices or lawsuits. Very, very important. The next thing is renewing business license. Like every year, again, I said that before, but every year you have to renew your business license. And if you have permits, certain permits, like if you're in the health food industry or you're doing some of the other things that are taken care of by the health department, then you need to make sure that you recertify and do those things. When you have a restaurant, they come by and they make sure that everything is compliant with cleanliness, healthiness, right? So making sure all your ducks are in a row and that you're trying to get 100% on those health scores from the health department when they come check your restaurants, right? So making sure that you are compliant with your permits and licenses will help you, because without it, you will receive fines and could very well be shut down. And we don't want that. We're not starting a business just so we can close a business. Also, when you filed for your LLC, you created an operating agreement, right? Has there been any change in that? And if there is, you need to update your operating agreement to reflect the changes, if any ownership or roles or processes, anything that's important, that defines the rights and responsibilities of the people in your agency, and or reduces it or anything that could possibly impact internal disruptions. So you want to make sure that your operating agreement is what you're doing in business today, regardless of when you filed it originally, right? So making sure that your operating agreement is on point. Also, you as an LLC, to stay compliant, need to stay current on your taxes. Like there are taxes, federal, state, local, whatever, sales, employment, franchise, all of that is applicable. You have to pay your taxes. You have to pay them annually. And a lot of times when people are trying to go get funding, they're going to ask you for, 2 to 3 years of your taxes that you filed for your business. So having an LLC means you file taxes. It's a legal entity. You file taxes. Even if you don't owe taxes, you still file taxes. So make sure that you file annual taxes. Is going to help you to stay compliant. Also, it is highly important, right? Because when I'm talking to businesses, I want to make sure they understand that the LLC puts a hedge between their personal life and their business life. And so it is important for that hedge to be strong as it is designed to be. That means you can't commingle the funding. Like business assets, business finances must be separated from your personal finances. You can't commingle them. And so I was talking to a business owner last week, and I was, expressing to her that it is a great thing that when she's making draws from the business or when she's paying equity into the business, that she uses a check. And I was telling her what to put on the check stub and well. And she said, "Oh, Miss Linda, so do do I need to get checks?" Like I know in these young people, I know that they're not into checks. Like checks are so outdated. Somebody paid with a check the other day. Ha ha ha. I get it. I get it, young people. But when you're being audited, that check is great proof for the auditors at the IRS. Just remember that. So some things do change. I get that things change, but your proof, that check is a record that is audible. And you want to have that when you're getting audited by the IRS. So they were like, "Oh, okay, well, just for this thing, because I want to make sure that I am, because if you're doing business well, you want to make sure all your ducks in a row." And so another thing that we don't talk about, right? You should have corporate records. Like, are you keeping your corporate records safe and together? And so I actually bought this, and it has my business's name on it. But I actually got this at Amazon, and it is a folder where all your corporate records should be. So you need to make sure that you're keeping your corporate records for your business in a binder of something that says it is what it is, right? So make sure you're doing that. I know a lot of people have an online record, like you have a folder online that you are keeping all your business records in. Have them, have business records. And speaking of business records, the number one thing that I have had to teach business owners about who are LLCs when I'm trying to help them to get certified in this entity or that entity, having those meeting records. Did you know you have to have minutes? When I talk to my business owners, they were like, Miss Linda, what is minutes? And I teach them, because Word, Microsoft Word has templates, has always had templates for meeting minutes. And so I, show them how to go there and then show them how to take minutes. You need minutes. Like it is required by the state that you're in. It's also required via your operating agreement that you're going to have minutes and that you're going to have meetings. And so you have to make sure that any discussion regarding major things that's transpiring in your business, any key decisions, any change of operating, any change of any change needs to be noted in your minutes of your meeting. So if you're not even doing a quarterly meeting or monthly meeting, you need to at least do an annual meeting every year to talk about what's going on in your business. And if anything has changed, that needs to be noted in your minutes. So it's very important. And I get this all the time. Well, Miss Linda, what if it's just me? Yeah, still have minutes, baby. Still have minutes. You're required to have minutes. So provides clear record of decisions and protects against legal challenges. You need to have minutes. Also, and what to do about annual records. Like I was telling you, accurate business records are important too. So your minutes are very important. So keeping records like your financial statements, your contracts, your who you pay, your payroll, your tax documents for at least 7 years. All of that goes in that box that I was just showing you, like it pulls out as a notebook, but all those records go into that box. You need to be able to have it all in one place. So if you're ever audited, you'll know what to do. You'll know where to go. Okay. So accurate business records. And then another is making sure that you monitor and document any changes in your membership. Like if you bring on new members or you remove members, if you are a multiple member LLC, making sure that that's documented somewhere, preferably in your minutes, preferably in your minutes to make sure that you are being compliant. Also, insurance. You need to have insurance, at least general liability. And I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she was asking about um, she's a speaker. And she was asking about, she's a speaker. And she was like, well, Miss Linda, I have general liability. I'm like, well, yeah, but you speak, you go out and you talk to people and you train people and you do these things. It's important for you to have insurance coverage because America is a very litigious country. Like people sue you for anything and can sue you for anything. And you want to make sure that you protected yourself. You want to make sure that your business assets and your personal assets are separate. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing yourself so that you don't get in trouble. And so making sure that you have insurance protects your business assets from unexpected claims and lawsuits. So do that. Make sure. Another thing is you want to monitor any laws that change. A lot of times it comes on the news when they make changes or they will do an update, but it's your responsibility, not theirs. It's your responsibility to stay abreast of the changes in laws. Like in Tennessee, where I am, they change where if you make less than $100,000, right, then you can get a minimal license. That impacted a lot of people, but if you didn't stay abreast of that, you don't know that. And if you're still paying taxes that you shouldn't be paying, that's on you. That's not on them, right? So understanding what the state laws are for your state regarding your business is going to help to make sure that you keep yourself compliant, that thing. And then also making sure you have an EIN, right? Because you should have gotten an EIN. Some people, if you have any major changes, you may have to update your EIN. Make sure that you are keeping it accurate because the IRS, you don't want to have complications with them. And so making sure that you do these things is going to help you to stay compliant. Is your LLC compliant? Like, are you compliant? These are things that people aren't doing that I see that run across my desk all the time of that they need to do this, they need to that. So that person that asked me about starting an LLC, I hope you see this because it's easier to start out the right way than it is to try to clean up several years of mismanagement, right? So you want to make sure if you're a LLC that you are compliant. Again, this is not legal advice by any stretch of the imagination. I my one thing is for you to do is go talk to legal counsel. If you have questions about your business, please go consult someone, your legal counsel, talk to your accountant. Make sure that you're talking to professionals who that is their lane of genius. All I know is on my side, when I'm trying to help businesses get to funding, that I'm running across these instances when I ask for these documents. Like I got asked the other day for a balance sheet and a P&L to send to the SBA. Those are financial records that as a business owner you should be aware of, regardless of what your filing status is, right? So making sure that you do all the things that keep you compliant is going to keep you out of trouble. And that's what we want. We want to be out of trouble. We don't want anybody coming after us because our LLC is not compliant. If you have any questions about this, my information is wherever you're watching this, but my goal is to help LLCs to understand there is compliance that you need. You don't just get an LLC and hop on your own way. There are requirements that you have as an LLC, and you need to make sure that you're compliant because you don't want to get audited. You do not want to get audited. You don't want to go down that track. You want to make sure that if you are, that you have all your ducks in a row and that you're compliant across the board. So that's what we're talking about. So it didn't take that long, just took a few minutes. But again, I gave you a lot of information, right? So I'm going to go right through it so that you'll understand what I'm saying. The first thing is make sure you're filing your annual reports. They're $300. And make sure you're filing those with the state secretary of state office. Do those annually, right? File them every year on time. You can check with their state to see what those deadlines are, but you need to file that for every year. Okay. Also, I've had nonprofits. I've had some nonprofits who didn't didn't file their didn't file their paperwork, and then they had to go back and pay for what they didn't pay, and then to get back compliant. Like you're fined if you don't do the things you're supposed to do. Also, making sure you maintain a registered agent, somebody who can receive documents for your business if there's a lawsuit or there's some kind of government or legal thing that needs to happen. Renew your licenses, your businesses, your permits. Make sure you know when your local, state, and federal licenses and industry specific permits are due. And put that on your calendar so that you get a reminder every year, because you can do that on your phone or you can do that on your calendar. So make sure that you understand when it's time to renew all the things you need for your business. Also, update your operating agreement. If what you're doing today does not look like it did when you filed for your LLC, make sure that they are updated. Make sure you have an updated operating agreement for your business. And the next thing is stay current on taxes, right? Make sure you're paying your taxes at the federal, state, and the local taxes. I'm talking about sales tax, employment tax, franchise excise tax, those things you have to stay up on. Make sure you do it. And then you separate your personal finances from your business finances. Don't commingle because that removes your hedge of protection. Don't do that. Make sure that everything is written, and as much as young people don't like it, learn how to write a check. Learn how to write a check because that is a vile record if you're ever audited by the IRS. Okay, so that becomes a record. It's a financial record. Track your meeting minutes. Make sure you're having meetings. And when you have meetings, make sure you're creating meeting minutes. Again, you can go to Word and under new and put in minutes, and it'll give you several different templates you can use. But you need to have at least one meeting minute per year for the number of years that you've been in business. Like And it made some people have had to stop and think, okay, what did that look like? And create those minutes for those meetings that you had. Well, oh yeah, Miss London, I've had the meeting, but I didn't know I was supposed to write it down. Okay, yeah, write it down. Track your meeting minutes, and then accurately maintain your business records. Like, it's important that you keep tax documents for up to 7 years. Okay, up to 7 years. Make sure you review your LLC membership. Make sure you haven't made any members added or removed and didn't document that somewhere. That needs to be in your meeting minutes, right? And if you need to change your operating agreement or any of your paperwork, make sure your paperwork reflects what you're doing today. Very important. Stay insured. Keep your insurance, at least your general liability. And if you do certain things, you may also need a professional liability or other insurance. Talk to your insurance agent about that. They'll tell you what coverage you need in order to stay safe. This is all about making sure that you are compliant as an LLC. Okay. Monitor state laws for changes. If there are any changes in the laws, it is your responsibility to check it out. We're getting ready to go into the new year. A lot of things are going to change. You need to be aware. As a business owner, it's your responsibility to check and find out what the changes of 2025 starting out. What changes are there and how will those changes impact me? When you're doing your planning, your annual planning for 2025, part of that should include going to look at the regulations and any statutes and things that are changing for their state where you are. Also, you want to check that locally. You don't want to check it at the state level. You also want to check it at the federal level. So making sure that you are abreast of what's going to impact you before it gets here helps you to do your annual planning correctly. And then renew your EIN. If you've made any major changes, you need to report those things. And these are things that just to keep you compliant. If you have any questions about this, hire an attorney. Hire a business attorney who can walk you through all of this, because again, this is not legal advice. None of this is legal advice. This is just to help you be compliant as an LLC. Because my friend asked me, where can she get an LLC? And I thought about, all the people that I see who have LLCs and they do not have them in the right order. So you want to have your LLC in the right order. Follow these tips, share it with your business friends. And that's all I had. That's all I had. So my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. And I come on the Business Plugs Mixer. Normally I have a guest, but today I am talking about LLCs. Hey, Robert, thanks for joining me. I am talking about LLCs, and I'm talking about staying compliant because, oh, baby, absolutely, absolutely. So Robert said it's an important topic. Understanding what things can render your LLC compliant can keep you out of trouble, right? Yeah, exactly, Robert. Exactly. Because you spend a lot of money for this business. So you want to make sure that your business is compliant. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. And you can go to your Secretary of State, go to your Secretary of State, and they're in your state office, and ask them any questions you have specifically about your business. They can tell you all the things you need to have in place, but this is in general, universally. And so for the United States, so making sure that your LLC is compliant is going to serve you well. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. Again, they call me the Business Plug. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Sorry for coming on late, but I'm here, and I hope you can use this. Have a great, what's it? Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. What is a good source to check on changes at the federal level? So your representative, so your senator's office. Yeah, the person you put in office to represent you at the national level is a great place to go and find out what changed at the federal level. That's a great question, though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good one, everyone. Bye bye.